Oh, look, we're streaming live. But we need to wait for Anne.
There's Laverne.
Hi, Laverne.
Did anybody but me get? Thank you for shaking your head. I checked it again this morning.
So are we missing anyone?
No,
Cody?
I didn't get any
We
notices.
didn't get
No,
Margaret?
we didn't get anything.
No, an agenda did not go out until this morning. Well,
Let's put it this way.
Did it go out this morning?
it did. So
I was
I
gonna say, I looked at 8 and it wasn't.
I emailed at 8:15 and was like, did the agenda go out? And Sarah said that it did, but there was a problem with the email, so she resent it at like 8:20.
I didn't get it.
How are you?
It should be in our inboxes right now. You don't have it, Jane, still?
Would you pass that around to Nina, please?
Your email is on it, Jane. It says
Okay.
it's 8:20, 8 minutes ago.
Well, let's
So-
put it this way. I called City Hall and said, do we have a meeting?
Yeah,
This morning.
we do.
I'm
We're
sure they're
extra busy because of the move.
Oh,
That's happening
right,
next
yeah.
week.
Yeah. So
That's
Oh, it's for me?
That's
Okay.
for you.
Sarah.
I told you I would send one.
Otherwise,
It's
Sarah.
just getting your packets
This is very cool.
printed. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, this is.
Oh, thank you.
They've been sitting at my kitchen table since
Thanks,
right after the last meeting.
Thank you. Okay. Is Anne starting us?
I don't think so, at least for right now. You're stuck with just me. So
We're happy to have you. I just want to make sure we weren't gonna.
yeah,
You starting with
she's
that.
got to finish some stuff up. She might come up at midday too, but
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So welcome everyone to our December meeting. Thank you for being here. Please, excuse the mix up of the agenda not going out. We do have a new commissioner. Hi, Margaret. We do have a new commissioner, Kelly, who's joining us. I thought because we have a new commissioner, introductions would be nice. So I thought we'd just go around and also.
Just one down here.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I thought also as we go around, if you are the chair of a subcommittee, maybe you could say like a couple brief words about it. I also thought it might be nice if we shared our connection to the arts community, if we have one. Sometimes I find out about those connections so late. Like I've worked with people for a year and then I find out they're an artist. So I wonder if that could be helpful. So I will go first. My name is Holly Adams and I'm the current chair of this commission. Though today, agenda item 7 is the election of officers. So I potentially will not be the chair going forward. We're doing an election this morning. I am a writer, a poet and a fiction writer, and I teach creative writing at the University of Maine.
I'll go next. I'm Sarah McQuillan. I'm the assistant in the Community and Economic Development Department, so staff support for the commission.
I'm Margaret Riley. I am not an artist, but I support the arts and my kids are very involved with arts and music.
Tristan Greenlaw. I'm a board member of Top of the Nine, which is an arts community center and gallery just down the road. And I'm also the chair of the subcommittee for the cultural assets, which is we take stock of the assets around town, maintain story maps, which are these cool little I don't know how you put them, guides through Bangor, and a few other things. We're meeting after this, so if you wanted to join, you could join too.
I'm Jane Bragg, and I have been very involved in dance. I ran Thomas, I'm retired, but I ran Thomas School of Dance for 31 years and founded and ran Bangor Ballet for many years. I'm also a patron of the theater and the symphony, and the arts have always been very important to me. And I am currently the chair of the grants committee, and we did a lot of work this last year to clean up the grant application form and the criteria and all. And you will need a new chair going forward.
Thanks, Jane. And I'm realizing I didn't speak about my subcommittee. I didn't follow my own instructions. So maybe I'll just jump in here. I'm also the chair of the Artober subcommittee. So we have 3 subcommittees. So Assets Committee, Grants Committee, and then Artober. And the Artober subcommittee is responsible for organizing and hosting Artober, the month-long celebration of the arts in Bangor during the month of October. Okay. Sorry for interrupting.
Hi, I'm Nina Early. I'm currently the vice chair of the commission. I am a visual artist. I'm a painter. I draw, I photograph, I sew a lot. And as actual real life work, I'm a project manager for a branding and web design company. So I do lots of graphic related stuff also. And I'm just generally interested in art and theater and music.
I'm Barbara McDade, and I'm the retired director of the Bangor Public Library, and I'm a church organist, and I quilt, and I love the arts. That's it. Well, thank you.
My name is Cal Elmore. I'm a retired art teacher, and I've been involved in advocating for the arts for a long time. I'm also on the Bangor Library Art Committee and some other groups that I can't think of right now. Supporter of the arts, the visual arts, and I do some art and some teaching also.
Kelly, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Kelly Chanel. I was actually born in Bangor, and I moved back here with my son about 7 years ago. I'm a single parent. I went to school for music. I got my bachelor's degree in music. I'm a flautist. I used to teach flute at his school in San Francisco. Right now, I'm just completely, he plays hockey. He's in advanced classes. So I'm just like mom mode right now. And as a single parent, I haven't really put a lot into anything for Kelly. But he's getting older. He's getting ready to graduate high school, and I'm, getting ready to like bridge that gap. Like, what am I going to do once he's gone? The next chapter, and I need to get back into what I love, and that's music. Music, like, literally saved my life. So, yeah. So that's it. I'm embarrassed. It's nice to meet everybody.
Thank you so much for joining this commission. We're so happy to have you.
And I'm Laverne Stockwell. I have been on some subcommittees. My profession, volunteerism. That's it.
Thank you so much, Laverne. So next on our agenda is meeting minutes, but because we got them this morning, I don't know if people want to have a quick look right now. I glanced.
You could defer them for approval.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's defer. Yeah. Not take up everybody's time with the reading, because they do look pretty extensive. Great minute taking. Okay, and I'm just getting an email from Cody, who is wondering if there's a link to dial into today's call.
Yes, let me just go run into our Cody quickly, and I'll tell him to send that to him.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you, Sarah.
I have a question about the agenda.
Yeah.
Election of officers for 2024. Will we have new members joining in January? Because the terms generally go January to January unless you're filling a vacancy. And if so, should the election occur at the January meeting instead of the December meeting? I don't know. I don't think we've ever had elections before we had the full new.
Yeah, so I sent an email. So I was sent this agenda earlier by Sarah to check it over, and she asked if I wanted anything added. And I asked, is it possible to do the elections at this meeting so that starting January, like starting into the new year, the chair will know they're the chair and can take over and can do January's meeting rather than waiting to start February. And Sarah checked and said, yes, we could do them today. If we don't want to, if we want to push that to January.
I see no reason not to do them today and hit January running, but I think it would be appropriate for anyone who's not going to be on the commission beginning in January, such as I'm termed off to recuse from voting there because I don't think I should be.
Right.
Do people agree with that? And are we apt to have any new members starting in January? That would be my only question. And should they be given a chance to vote?
Right, the city would already know, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, we haven't received any further applications for any vacancies. So I think at the moment, Kelly's our only new member. So
yeah, and I remember my term, like when I started in December rather than January.
And I think I started in February.
Yeah, because you still have some vacancies on the commission. If people continue to apply moving forward from now, they could be brought in mid-year to fill a vacancy.
That was just a
yeah. So Jane, you're saying you would recuse yourself from voting because you're terming out. You're not okay. Is anybody else in that position where they're not continuing on?
I am continuing, but I think my term ends, so I probably need to do something to re-up.
Does your term end this month?
It might.
If this is the end of your first term, you should have been notified by
I think
City
I probably was
Hall to ask if you wanted to continue.
Okay. And then there's like a re-interview, which I had to do after my first year.
I will look for that. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe you can stop by and do it.
The city clerk, she should be able to help.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, okay, so we're deferring the meeting minutes. Report of chair, I don't have a report to give. And financial report, we would have just received as well.
So on your financial report, there's not really much to report on that end because none of your grant awards have actually gone through and been taken out of your funds yet. So it doesn't show what you just awarded. But with what you just awarded, you will have $7,000 left for the spring.
Are there questions or comments about the financial report?
There's nothing in here, right?
I thought we had 25 to start the year.
20.
20?
Yeah.
I thought we requested an extra 5 and it was granted.
October.
Yeah. Yeah. Look back in the minutes.
Okay. I was not aware of that, but I can definitely look into that for folks. So I will put that on my list to look into. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we're okay with the financial report with that inquiry. Next on the agenda is the grant award discussion. So clarification of the award for Christopher Packard. So Christopher Packard is, if you'll remember, he's organizing the, what's it called?
The book fair.
The book fair. Thank you. Yes. Because the author's fair, and it's on December 9th, right? So encourage people to go out to that. It's at the Bangor Public Library. And I think the weirdness is that he's an individual, but he's organizing like an event. He's not requesting art supplies to create a physical, tangible product or outcome, but more of an event. And so he had reached out to me, but this had already been on the agenda that we were going to discuss, clarifying like what he is entitled to spend money on. So this got put on the agenda before I was aware of it. So did that come from somewhere else?
Yes. So so I did include in your packets just the email that he sent to me, asking specifically about whether refreshments for that pre-party would be included as a supply that he could be reimbursed for. Anne and I both went back and watched the recording of the last meeting, and both of us felt like we still weren't quite sure what was decided on that front, because I know there was a lot of discussion surrounding that. So we just felt like it would be best to re-clarify that very specific point with all of you.
Okay.
What has he been told at that time? Has he been told he can use funds for food?
Well, he has now. Yes. Yeah. Because so he sent this email on November 17th. And I think that triggered putting it on the agenda. Yep. But then he emailed me to ask again, because the event is happening next Saturday. So we couldn't really wait around till our meeting to get back to him. So I checked in with Jane as chair of the grants committee, and Sarah was CC'd, and Anne and Nina as vice chair, and asked just want to, I want to forward Chris's email. So basically he's just concerned that if he goes and spends a bunch of money on refreshments and then he submits those receipts and we say, no, food is not an eligible expense, that he's then spent money that he was counting on being reimbursed for, and then he won't be. So I checked with everybody and everybody seems to, Jane, maybe you had a hesitation, but it seemed like we felt that we had already decided. I know that, you guys watched the recording and it seemed unclear, but we felt like we had already decided that food and refreshments were an allowable expense. And also he was asking about event insurance, whether that would count as like a supplier material. And we felt yes. So we told him that the refreshments and the event insurance would count towards supplies or materials. And like it says for individuals in the grant, requirements or criteria, he's eligible for up to 50% of that to be reimbursed to the amount that we have approved, which I believe was $1,000. So he can get $1,000 towards food and event insurance, but it can only cover 50% of the expenses. So he's been told that. So, I don't know that if we want to.
Well, I think the other, just part of this, which can either be a discussion for today, or you can defer it to another meeting if you like to, but our feeling staff-wise anyways, that maybe we should have some clarification of this type of thing moving forward, and maybe more clearly delineate whether things like refreshments are considered a supply for events that are requesting funding.
Yeah, I would like to make a couple of comments. One, I think that we've never had a request from an individual for an event before, so there's never been any protocol for it, and that's what caused this mix-up. So I would say that it would behoove the grant committee to address this issue and come up with some verbiage to bring to the full commission. So I think rather than have a discussion, let the grant committee take a first stab at it and then bring it back to the full commission. Second comment is I was looking forward to going to the event, but Falmouth High School varsity basketball with my grandson's going to take precedence. So I hope that a lot of you will be able to go. Third comment, going forward, we support a lot of music and theater and dance, and maybe the commission should think about or discuss, in collaboration with the library, making this an October annual event. So just tossing that out as if that could be something that would address the written word that tends to get a little bit less. So just something for the commission to consider going forward that I just kind of like to throw out there.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think, like, knowing Chris, I think he's this is only the second year that he's done it, but he really likes having it pre-Christmas because his thought is people are coming and buying Christmas gifts in the form of books. So, we could, of course, suggest, but
that couldn't have to be part of October. It could be just sponsored by.
The book festival used to be in October, but I think he's right that people do come out to buy books in December. It's probably a better time.
Yeah,
I actually bought his book for myself last Christmas.
Oh, nice. And he has a new book that just came out, Lumpy something, which seems like a great kid's book. I think the other thing that the grants committee might want to talk about with relation to this application, and that was like a sticky point for some people, is that the event that he's requesting refreshments for and the event insurance is not open to the public, right?
The event insurance is for the whole event.
Oh, sure. Okay, so not that, but the refreshments.
Oh, and
Right.
the city council had no problem with funding it?
They did not. Yep, it went through city council just fine, so.
And I think part of that was we had requested his list of registered authors, and a lot of them are from Bangor or from the Bangor region. And so the event is for them. And while it's not open to the public, I think in our grant application right now, it says part of whatever this is funding needs to be accessible to the public. And part of it is.
Right, but we'd be funding not the part that's accessible. Right. So I just wonder if the grant committee, when they talk about this, might want to think about whether they feel that's necessary, and like they would put that in the new guidelines or criteria that the part we fund must be
public,
open to the public. Yeah. So
the writers is always good.
And you know, I just want to echo Jane's point, like as a writer, sometimes it's hard to make these kinds of requests because what do you need to write? You know, it's often just your laptop, you know, it's not, you know, when you're doing visual art and you need the paint and the canvas and the brushes and whatever. Or you're putting on a literary reading and somebody gives you the venue for free. It's like, well, what else do I need? But you know, we still want to fund the literary arts. So perhaps events is one way to do that. And what do you need for events? Refreshments and insurance, I guess. Yeah.
I'd like to suggest that the idea of combining something with the library, though, makes a lot of sense. Ongoing Artober and the library could find a way to coordinate some event or a group of events. They already help advertise it, but I don't know that there's anything program-wise that addresses it. Just a suggestion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So next on our agenda is a presentation or a discussion with, a conversation with our special guest, Justin Russell. Do you want to come sit at our table so you'll be live streamed? Thank you so much for joining us, Justin.
Thank you for having me.
So we are aware of your amazing events calendar, Sevenths calendar, this community calendar. For those who aren't aware, it's wonderful. It's a great resource. You can join for free and you can tell us more about it. I can just speak from my experience. I've gotten a lot of use out of it, and I get my email every Sunday morning that tells me the events that I might want to go to in the community. So Justin, do you want to just give us a intro to this project?
Definitely. So good morning, everyone. I'm Justin Russell. I'm a freelance web and mobile developer here in Bangor. So interesting that this comes right after the discussion of the author event, because one of the things I found living here is that there are so many people putting on great events every day. And there's a lot of interest in those events from people around the community, but there's also often a disconnect between those two areas. And it's been hard to find what's going on. So what I wanted to do was create some sort of venue for people to promote their events and also find what's going on in the community. So I'm happy to say that so far this year, there have been over 1,600 events on Sevenths calendar, which is my personal little pet project right now to promote what's going on around the community. And so it's free to view the calendar at bangorsevents.com. So it's bangorsevents.com. And then you can sign up there for a free weekly email event rundown. So you can get events that are happening in the next week and events that have just been added to the calendar. And you can also sign up for an account and choose what kinds of events are interesting to you. And then your weekly rundown will be kind of personalized to send events that are kind of interesting to you. So you get things that might be good matches for you. So I know you all have been interested in an event calendar, and I've watched a couple of the past meetings to kind of see what you've been talking about. So I'd love to hear sort of what you've been looking for, and if there's a way for us to work together, or if there's a way that I can help with your mission of promoting events around the community. But yeah, that's sort of the short rundown of it.
Yeah, sorry.
What's the site? What's the address again?
Yep, it's bangorsevents.com. So it's BANGORSEDENTS.
How are you getting these events? Because
Yes.
I am so impressed with what I see on there. You know, like October was on there and I didn't send it to you.
Yep.
Or, you know, the Green Drinks I'm also a part of. They're always there and I don't know that we're sending them to you. So are you looking and you're personally adding them to the calendar?
So it's a combination of things. Anyone can add an event to the calendar for free. It's really easy. I know I've organized events in the past. I know people like Holly and all of you have organized events in the past. So I know you have a lot going on and I want to make it as easy as possible to add an event. And the last thing you want to be doing is going around to 15 event calendars, adding details. So I've tried to make it as easy as possible. So it only takes a minute or two to add an event. So some people do submit events and then I have a kind of master list of organizations and events and venues that I go around usually every week just to see what's going on. And it actually doesn't take that much time just to kind of supplement what people have submitted. And I trying for the most complete listing I can, but there are always things that even I'm surprised to hear about every day. And I spend a bunch of time kind of seeing what's going on. So it's always nice to hear about new things too.
And what is your radius?
Yeah.
Sorry, Margaret.
So my goal here is to make it so that anyone, it's a discovery calendar. So it's like, hey, I'm looking for something to do. And so it's a little spontaneous. And so I kind of limited it to kind of saying a 20-minute drive of downtown Bangor. So there will be events in pretty much Bangor, Brewer, Hamden, Orono, VZ, Old Town every once in a while. Sometimes for bigger events, I'll do like Friday at the Fort and Prospect or Winterfest in Bucksport. So if there's a larger thing, then I try to include that if it's kind of on that border. But for the most part, I'm like, hey, I'm looking for something to do tonight. Let's just go somewhere. And so, yeah, it's usually right within the sort of Bangor and the ring communities, I'd say.
So would you say kind of the greater Bangor, mostly the greater Bangor?
Pretty much,
area?
yeah. I think I'm trying to think what the farthest away I've ever done. I think I once put something in Belfast on there just because it was like the Belfast Bay Festival or whatever it was. But generally, yeah. So people in this general area can find things to do.
And it comes out once a week.
Yep. So it's constantly updated. So like it's reflecting whatever people have added to the calendar. But generally, I'll go through once or so a week just to kind of see what's around the area and add anything that might be missing that I found.
Is it set up by day or is it set up by alphabetically by community or what?
Yep. So right now it's set up so that you can go and you see events in the next week. So it's kind of set up
as a calendar.
As a calendar-ish. And so it shows events for today at the top of the screen. And then it shows events for the rest of the week underneath that. And it's a little prioritized so that the larger events, like if there's something going on at Waterfront Concerts or Chicago, or Festival of Lights Parade, things that might be more interesting to a broader audience, kind of float to the top. And then you get into the nitty gritties of, knitting circles and poetry readings and story times and all of that at the bottom. So,
but what you see if you go on the site is just what's coming up within the next week or 10 days.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. So it's sort of an at a glance look at kind of what's going on in the next week around Bangor.
Is this arts and culture focused or is it anything like, a sports event or
it's pretty much anything. You can filter the calendar by the kind of event you're interested in. So just to kind of look at it, there's arts and culture, there's arts, theater, education, sports, recreation, kids, family and kids.
Is there nature?
It's sort of recreation. Yeah. There's not a dedicated recreation one. or a nature one. But yeah, things like at Fuels Pond for Maine Audubon will be on there under recreation or education sometimes. But yeah, so you can filter it by that. And then, like I said, when you sign up, you can choose what kinds of events you're interested in. So you can kind of see those at the top of the calendar. So
this takes some time and effort, but any plans to monetize this project?
It's a good question. So I'm a business. I run 110 Digital, which is a web and mobile development company. So I'd love this to become something that's sustainable in the long term. And that's not just in Bangor. Like, I think I've seen that this works in Bangor, and I'd love to bring it to other communities as well. So there are options there, like advertising. I really would love to keep it ad-free if possible. But I've also thought about ways that we can get out into the business community and help businesses. So I've been thinking about like tourism and recreation, and thinking about like how hospitality might use this, and if there's any way to work with them to promote events to their guests and understand what's going on in the area. But I always want the basic view to be free for everybody, because I think it's really important to spread the word about events and make it really easy to find what people are doing. So it's sort of, monetization is not my main goal right now, especially in Bangor, because I think it's just a really good thing to have for Bangor. But I would love to reach a point where we could make something happen.
Make some money, but I don't hear a real. This is, if you don't do ads, are you going to get, would it be sponsorships from businesses, maybe, which is sort of a kind of ad type thing, or membership to have a more in-depth. Is it that kind of thing?
So I will say, and I'll hand this out actually, one of the things I've been working on, and I know you have all been talking about, a printable kind of calendar. So I'll pass these around if you'd like. So one of the things I've been thinking about is something like this, like I was saying, for hospitality, which would be sort of a customized printable calendar that like a hotel or an Airbnb or something could subscribe to. And see and hand these out to their guests. So that's one of the kind of methods I've been looking at. This is a kind of early preview of it. And I'm hoping to get something going with this next year. But yeah, I think in general, this would be the kind of thing where it would be sort of partnership with businesses or hospitality or whatever, to offer some of these additional services on top of the calendar itself. So sort of using that event data and saying, hey, how can you benefit from using sort of listing or a database of events that are going on in the area? So
this could be a really nice option for access to older people.
Yeah.
Who don't have technology. If they knew that at the church or at certain key places, this was available on a weekly basis, or say Solstice or one of those group living things. This could be on a desk.
Yeah.
And that's part of our charge as the commission, is to make these events more accessible.
Yes.
That's the whole beginning of the idea for this calendar, and why we talked about having it be either a printed separate thing or something that's printed in the BDN.
Yeah.
So that people who aren't as tech savvy or might not check their email on a regular basis can still have access to knowing what's happening in town.
Yeah.
There's some neat things on here.
They really are. I'm amazed. I really am glad that you have focused on this as a project, because I'm surprised every week at what I find going on around Bangor. And I love that people are passionate about these things and doing some really creative, there's some really creative options out there that not everybody knows about. So I love spreading the word about these things. And as someone who has organized events, I know it can be hard to find people and get the word out about things. So I love having this as an option. I'm passionate about this, and I'm glad to see that there's interest in doing anything to spread the word about what's going on too, because I think it really is important.
I know
it really builds a community.
Pre-internet, we were trying at the library to figure out how to do a community calendar, and it's just horrible.
It is. It's a combination of, where do you find events, how do you manage them, and it really does get in. One of the things I found is that you get very deep into it very fast, because you have to be like, okay, so this is the time it starts, and this is the place, and picking a location, and there's a lot that goes into listening an event. So I've tried to make this it's a discovery platform. So this is pretty much every event has a link to a place with more information. And I'm not trying to be the end all be all of everything.
Would it be at all possible? Like, this is just something I'm thinking right now, and I have no idea if this would work, but like, if say our commission took out a weekly one page in the BDN one day, and like we work with you, and it links wouldn't like link, but it would have the website, but it would also have like this, so this would be once a week in the BDN in print. And I love Cal's idea of it also being printed by businesses.
Yeah, but then somebody has to manage that, and I know that that's work too. And not everybody gets BDN paper.
Right,
but a lot of people do.
Yeah. So people who don't get the BDN paper, I mean, hopefully, I'm hoping they have internet and they would just go to the site or get the. But we're trying to think of ways to pair print with your amazing web calendar, right? Because that was our charge. That was part of the original mission, was for people who don't have the internet or aren't web savvy. So I think it would be awesome to do like kind of all three. Like, there's the online events calendar, and this is printed in hotels and retirement communities, and maybe you can find it even in the library. But if it was also like, if we were to pay for the one page,
how many people here get the Bangor Daily News?
How many get it?
And I get it only on the weekend.
Really?
I don't know.
I get it.
You get it?
I get it all but Mondays.
So look at the age of the people that get the newspaper. So
I do the electronic one.
You what?
I do the electronic one. I don't get it delivered, but I can read it.
And an ad would be in the print and the electronic.
Yeah, that would
likely,
be both
right?
places.
Right. And we are that was the charge to reach the demographic.
Yeah.
But does that go
that isn't searching for events on their own?
What we had the BDN person here one day discussing the thing with
we did.
Bean and Johnson. What was her first name?
Sandra.
Yeah,
And
they were the two that brought us this issue.
Yeah, and brought it up. And the BDN wasn't there somebody here from the BDN?
Yeah.
If I went back in my notes, I'd find them.
Yeah, someone was here from the BDN, but we were never.
It never went.
Well, it was never a guarantee. So our mission was to put together an RFP that then the BDN could pitch for or could propose to do something. But then, this came to my attention, and do we want competing community calendars? Do we want to dilute,
And I think we had sort of started thinking about a budget for this project that would likely be for the BDN, if the BDN both sources and creates this calendar and then prints it. But if this calendar already exists and you'd be willing to work with us, then we could allocate that budget differently, ideally, right? So
right, because a lot of we were tailoring the budget to the BDN. The BDN had a lot of the money was going to a writer who would be researching the events and then doing a write-up. I find that I quite like that there isn't a write-up. Like, I just want to see the event name, the location, the time, a link to the website where I could find out if I need to buy a ticket, or like I could find out the write-up that already exists, because who's creating an event without a description of it? So like, do we need to allocate, a salary to a BDN writer to put them on this beat?
I guess it depends on, you could still have a write-up about a couple of big events coming up and still use this calendar too. Have the write-up just focus on couple of things.
Right.
Depends on
I
how you
mean,
want to set
I
it
mean,
up,
the
I think.
BDN does have an arts reporter, right? Like,
Right, they do
Yeah.
already publicize
Are
some
these
events and they
QR
write about
codes
something.
able to be, are they workable ones?
Yes.
I
the-
can't stand them.
You understand
She
what
knows, she knows.
Yeah.
what it is. I like it.
Yeah,
I work for Maine Tourism and every brochure has to have a QR
Yeah.
code.
Yeah.
so
There's a bigger one,
So this is sort of a preview. So the little event links underneath each event don't work. They'll just go to the calendar right now. But the QR codes do work. So if you scan them, they'll go.
Well,
to
just
that.
asking because of the
But-
size.
Yes, yes. So they're big enough, but yeah.
What would you like from us? How
Yes,
did we
ma'am.
help you?
I would love to, like, obviously, if you can spread the word about the calendar, that would be wonderful. I'd love to reach as many people as possible. But if there is anything I can do to support this project, whether it's through something already there or, again, this is sort of what I do for work, so I can customize something. If there's something that, if there is some sort of printable version, I don't know what that would look like, but I'm happy to work with you to kind of support what you're looking to do. And if there's a way that I can fill some of the gaps that might be in the landscape, I can do that. So if you have an idea of sort of what kind of thing you're looking for, like if you're looking for sort of a weekly look at what's going on in the city, or if you're looking at a more longer term, like here are the major events in the next month or in the next year, or yeah, just kind of thinking of frequency and the kinds of events you'd want to include, and what that would look like if it's a sheet that you hand out, or if it's something that gets printed in the BDN or whatever. I'm happy to sort of customize as much as I can.
I like how cheap.
Yeah.
Like this, like I don't think if it's printing weekly, I don't think it needs to be like color and glossy in a
Right.
brochure. Like that seems like way too much.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of like, if you send like this is printable, but you just send the link to hotels or whoever and they print it themselves, right? Like they take on the cost.
It might be nice to have it on if this is a way we want to go, to have it on the city website somehow, a link to it. I don't know if that's a possibility.
Yeah.
I
mean, even if it's a link on our cultural commission page, which currently is quite varied, but I know the website is a work in progress. But right, if we could just add that link to our page for when this is ready, and that could link right to your calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I would like to see maybe an ad hoc committee with someone from the city, someone from the Bangor Daily News, someone from the commission, Justin, to come up with something that's, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. And we know that small nonprofits, if they want to get something, they've got to go to fill out a form here. And if there's any way that to have somewhere prominent on the city website, events that can be easily found without getting buried, I don't know, maybe people don't go. If I were looking to move to Bangor, I would probably look at the Chamber of Commerce in the Bangor City. And if there could be something bold and center that said, wow, look what's going on, that's very good for the economic development. So I think that if, rather than having, these do this and these do this, and then that your approach is fabulous. And if we can get these different entities together to come up with a cohesive plan, would be maybe something that the commission
I like the ad hoc committee, because I think, we're not going to make a decision today. Like, I think this is good, like brainstorming and like find out about the project and get the knowledge. But I like having somebody from the city on the committee, because I think, we need the city in terms of using the website and
I don't think we need someone from the BDN on the committee, because we can explore options without them and then see but if someone is interested on their end, then certainly invite them. But I like the idea of just us taking out an ad rather than having them.
Yeah, so I was on that like previous subcommittee where, we were meeting with the BDN, and there was someone from the library on the subcommittee, and it was very much like with the goal of publishing in the BDN. And the BDN had, so they had real control. Yeah.
I have a question, and that's going to sound ignorant, I'm sure, but does Bangor have like a tourism website? Like, if I'm going to go to Old Orchard Beach with my son, and you go to look up hotels, you click on Old Orchard Beach, Maine, when I was in California, for example, and you see the pier and you see all the activities, the fireworks, the concerts and things coming up. I don't know if Bangor has a website like that, but that would be like, for me, if I was from outside Bangor, when you mentioned that, that's what like clicked it in my head. That would be the first thing I'd look up if I was going to travel and visit Bangor, was like their city website, which would show, and have this calendar right on it.
All right, to answer that question as much as I can. Bangor used to have Bangor, not chain, yes, we have chain, but we also had one. Bangor's
visitors.
Yeah, BBC.
And Tourist Bureau.
And that is Bangor's, and that is no longer in existence. What's the Bangor downtown?
The DBA still exists, but the visitor and
such as this weekend, $10 Theater has a location. I'm just feeding that to you. You got it, okay? I know it starts this weekend and next weekend. I was surprised when I just read this, Chicago the Musical. For years, as long as when the Cross Center sponsored all of those events, a lot of things like that, I had season tickets. I know I had
the Chicago's not. That is a Collins Center event is just being held at the Civic Center.
Yeah, but this is the Cross Center is doing the musical.
No, that's where they're having it because it's
correct. I understand that, but I said I would buy every year tickets for something. I used to get emails telling me something was happening, and I didn't know that was coming. So
that's why we got to get
it. Well, now I
can
check it, my dear. But the point is, I don't drive by that sign and read everything.
I know that. That's the issue. This is exactly what we're trying to solve.
Yeah, this is what we need, and I appreciate all the work that goes into
going
it.
home, and I will sign up for this.
Yeah, I had one other
Margaret
thought, because I don't know how big the population is that only reads print. I don't think we have those numbers exactly. But if it's not a huge amount, is there something like I don't know, an agency like Eastern Agency on Aging that could sponsor maybe a mailing once a week to maybe like 50 households, and the rest is online for everybody else?
And if it's as simple as this is not.
I mean, this is not going to be helpful if they're not online with the codes, but maybe there's a way to transfer it to something that's more.
There's got to be a way to.
Because I don't know, maybe it's a small amount of people that are depending on the BDN or a printed source, whatever that is. Just another.
I don't know. Just getting it in the BDN, then more people would know about it, and then it would grow. I think.
I think you should note that.
But yes,
for the ad hoc committee to talk about.
Yeah, the ad hoc committee. That's what you should join.
Yeah.
Or AARP.
Yeah, something to
local
that sends things
regular
in snail mail.
They could even just include it
I've never
in their
been.
events.
I don't want to throw out a number, but
See, the old weekly used to be.
I don't know. I've no idea.
With events.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about, and we're hoping that this will increase based on what we might help with, but what is the traffic like, or how many users? Do you have like a sense of how many people have signed up to get the weekly?
I haven't really. I think there are about 100 people who are signed up for the weekly email, which is nice. I'd love to have more, but I think
today there'll be 8 more.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Two of us already are on.
Yeah,
7 more.
I'd really be interested to know. I don't know. I don't know any way to get this, but I know there are a lot of people who are interested in what's going on around the area. But I also know that people are busy and not everybody is interested in events. So I don't know how big the actual audience here is, but I would love to reach as many people as possible with this, both through the calendar itself and any sort of partnerships or whatever. Because I do hear a lot that people don't know what's going on, and it is a little sad because there are some great things happening every week, and I would love to find some way to reach as many people as we can to get the word out there. So
I would think the potential audience is huge.
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, and as you look into it, like these are the big events for the week, but if you go down the entire list, there's a lot for families. There's a lot for, UMaine and Husson have sports every week for the most part. So there's a lot to do, and it bothers me whenever I hear someone say there's nothing to do around Bangor, because there's plenty to do around Bangor. Yeah. It's just knowing where to look for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really love that so many people are involved with doing great things. There's a lot.
I'm wondering if you can drill down sports, arts, maybe even further to theater, and if one thought that comes to mind is if you do a weekly, maybe have different areas printed, because it can be daunting if you're looking through every little beanhole supper.
For sure. Yeah.
That's the problem.
And just put a link to the whole calendar at the top.
Yeah.
Every time we print
I love this.
and say,
these are the major
things.
everything.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea too, to also, for the younger generation, like everything's on an app for me. My son's hockey schedule, everything's on an app. If there was also a link to this, like on Facebook or other social media sites, just so that, I don't do the print thing and I'm always busy. And that would be just great if that just scrolled in my Facebook feed tonight and I'd say, oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, look, there's a calendar. I forgot to look at Bangor's calendar. A notification came up. There's a new calendar this week. Like I'd be more quickly to look at that than to have it both pronged approach for the people that don't do it online, and then to spread it via social media, and you'd get so many more people looking at it that way, I think, very quickly.
We should get the schools to link it in their communication to the parents.
And the city has an Instagram page, right?
Yep.
So I mean, that's another avenue of like promotion too.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we form an ad hoc committee?
Yes.
Okay. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
We're gonna do elections, I think, almost right now. Can you stay for that, or
I can.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I have to be someplace in 20 minutes.
Okay.
Not in Bangor.
All right. Do we have any final questions for Justin?
This is wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I just say one more thing. If it gets to a point where some funds might need to be helpful to get this off the ground, we do have a grant process here that individuals can apply to.
And you wouldn't be the first.
I don't know whether that's applicable or not, but this takes this, materials and whatever, then that this might be a grant application, might be considered.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for your work.
Do we need to select an ad hoc committee? Should we follow up over email on that to schedule an ad hoc meeting, and whoever wants to come.
Yeah, I can do that. And I'll email you, Justin, about the ad hoc committee. So next on our list is election of officers. It's my understanding we only need to elect a chair and a vice chair. Those are the officers, yes.
And the grants committee.
A grants committee chair, yes.
I think the bylaws say that once the committees are established, they elect their own chair.
Oh,
Yes, because we sometimes didn't
Right.
follow the bylaws.
So
That's
the
what
grants,
the bylaws say.
yeah. So the grants committee will need to then schedule a meeting.
Yes.
Without maybe you as the chair to schedule it, and then they need to elect a new chair.
I can follow up.
I mean, you could establish your committees for next year.
Why don't we do that?
Oh,
But you ought to get your officers first.
Yeah, let's do the voting of the chair and the vice chair, and then if we want to get the committees squared away, and Kelly, we do encourage people, or I think it's maybe mandatory that you join one subcommittee, and you can join as many as you like, but some people I think we did, right, when we went around. So do we elect the chair first?
Yes.
Yes.
Holly, would you like to run again?
No.
She made that clear that she did not. So I would like to nominate Nina as the chair.
I would like to second that nomination.
All right.
Is there anybody else who'd like to run?
I would like to make a motion that nominations cease and we can vote.
So swift.
Right here.
All those in favor of Nina as chair?
I'm in favor, but I don't vote.
Oh, right, okay. I was like, gee.
Doesn't count, but I'm in favor.
Nina, do you accept the
I do.
election? Yay, new chair, Nina. Nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Holly. I'll second that.
All those in favor? Thank you. I accept. I do. I'm happy to be the vice chair, which I was until I should mention we had a chair who moved away, and once you don't live in Bangor proper, cannot be the chair anymore. So I've been happy to fill in, but I'm now happy to be out of the hot seat into the chair seat, or vice chair seat rather. Great. So the grants committee, do people want to say who wants to be on that committee?
Oh, I will stay on the grants committee.
Nina, thank you.
I would again.
Grants. Laverne.
There's grants, October, and what's the third one?
Asset.
Okay.
I'm happy to join grants. So it's me, Nina, and Laverne. Anyone else?
Cody was also on it.
Okay. I don't know. Did he end up calling in? Is he on the phone?
No, I was
No, okay.
watching. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not sure what happened.
Okay.
I think you only need 3.
Okay, but I can check with Cody by
Yeah.
email.
So I wouldn't put him on now.
I'll put him
I'd
as
check with him and add him later.
Sure. I think I may need to step off of October. Or I can be on the committee, but I don't know if I can be chair. Well, that will be determined. Okay. Anybody feeling October excited?
She's trying to get me over
I
here.
was trying to do this. I was talking about
I'll
it.
try.
Thanks, Kelly.
Oh, good.
I can stay on October.
Thanks, Nina.
And Laverne?
You want to stay, Laverne?
I said it.
Cal, you're on it.
Yeah, I was gonna offer.
Thanks, Cal.
And Cal? So you got 4 on October?
I'll stay on October, but
Oh, this
we'll
is-
elect a new chair at our
That's a
first
big
meeting.
committee.
We need it. The October committee needs to be.
Yeah.
I think we had 5 or 6 last time.
Well, cultural assets is one I've never done, so maybe I'll switch over.
Do you want to switch from October to cultural assets? Okay.
Do you mind?
I don't mind. So assets, Tristan, you're the chair
I'm the
of
current
that,
chair, yeah.
right? And
I'll stay on
okay.
that.
And Margaret?
Yep.
And I'll do assets.
Thanks, Barbara.
Boy, what a good group.
Great.
Yes.
And excuse me, but I do have to.
Okay, thank you so much.
But I have to give
So
a
who do
motion.
you have on the committees?
So on grants, I have Nina, Laverne, and Holly. I'm going to check with Cody, so don't put them on yet. October, I have Kelly, Nina, Cal, and Holly.
I didn't read.
And on assets, I have Tristan, Laverne, Margaret, and Barbara.
Barbara and
Margaret,
Margaret.
Laverne, and Tristan. And we're only missing Cody then today, is that right?
Thank you and good luck. I'm going to sign up for it.
Thanks everyone for a quick election. Other business. I don't have anything. Anybody?
Assets is meeting after this upstairs. Or
Downstairs.
downstairs.
Okay.
And the next
Good luck to the assets commission.
And the
I
next
suppose
meeting
each
will
of
be
the
in a new
committees could-
location, I take it.
January
Gather
5th.
right now and elect your chair and be done with it.
Which one does?
Anyway, all the committees.
All
could
the
get
committees.
Together for 2 minutes.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
Let's do it. Let's go into the new year organized.
Yeah.
Leadership.
You
I'm
know.
leaving, but I'm going to say, I nominate Jane to continue with the grants.
Jane's leaving us.
Jane's leaving.
Oh, you're leaving?
That's why we need a new
I'm
chair.
turned off.
Oh, I'm not gonna be chair of grants.
No. So you're not going to be chair. It's Nina and me.
So Nina,
Well, okay, I will
I
be.
think then between
I'll
grants
be-
and October,
I'll be
we
chair
have
of
to-
grants if you be chair of October.
Leaving. Anyway,
Yeah.
Jane, I will see
Okay.
you hopefully tomorrow night in the same location.
But I'll be very helpful. I'll be
Okay.
your deputy chair, like you were for
Sounds
me
good.
for
So you're
October.
October,
I'm October.
I'm
Kelly
grants
is grant
chair.
and Tristan stays
Tristan-
on as.
Unless anyone wants to change that up, I'm fine
You're
with
good.
keeping it.
right.
Someone's stage a coup. No. Okay.
Before everybody leaves, I want to say that the library, I have heard, is very excited about the next year of artists that are going to be.
We had 51 applications.
Wow.
For
The
exhibits.
banner here.
For what?
Right, for exhibits at the library next year.
That's wonderful.
And we have a big, starting the year, we have a Robert Shetterly
Yeah,
with events that was.
which we funded part of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be good.
It's a great gallery space. Like I was in there about a week or so ago and it's beautiful.
But, you know, when they invested in that system, that hanging system, they made everything sort of orderly and nice and secure, mostly secure. We did have an issue or two. No, I mean, way back when you were there,
Oh, yeah.
way back, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's gonna be a good year for art.
I think both grants and October can meet sometime in January.
Yes.
We'll need to discuss.
No, I think calling a meeting in the new year. Okay. Well, if I don't see everyone, happy holidays. Meeting adjourned.